and confidentiality. On the basis of the right to privacy, the research subject has the right to anonymity and the right to assume that all data collected will be kept confidential. Anonymity means that even the researcher cannot link a subject's identity to that subject's individual responses. Confidentiality is the researcher's management of private information shared by a subject that must not be shared with others without the authorization of the subject. When information is shared in confidence, the researcher has the obligation to maintain confidentiality. Researchers, as professionals, have a duty to maintain confidentiality consistent with their professional's code of ethics. A breach of confidentiality can occur when a researcher, by accident or direct action, allows an authorized person to gain access to a study's data. Confidentiality can be breached in the responding or publishing phase of a study, especially in qualitative studies in which a subject's identity is accidentally revealed, violating the subject's right to anonymity. Breaches can harm subjects physiologically and socially, as well as destroy the trust they had in the researcher who promised confidentiality. Breaches can be especially harmful to a research participant when they involve religions, preference, sexual practice, employment, personal attributes, or opinions that may be considered positive or negative, such as racial prejudice. Thus, the informed consent document must describe the specific limitations on confidentiality. And you can protect confidentiality giving each subject a code number. Keep a master list of the subject's names and their code numbers in a located place. For example, subject Mandy may be set the code number 001. All of the instruments and forms that Mandy completes and the date you collected about her during the study will be identified with the 001 code number, not her name. The master list of subjects' names and code numbers should be kept separate from the data collected to protect subjects' anonymity. You should not staple signed consent forms and authorization documents to instruments or other data collection tools, as this would make it easy for an authorized person to readily identify the subjects and their response. Consent forms are appropriately stored with the master list of subjects' names and code numbers. When entering the collected data into a computer, code numbers instead of names should be used for identification. Data should be stored in a secure place on a flash drive in the researcher's computer or on a website. These actions ensure that all data were kept confidential during and after completion of the study, but were readily retrievable by researchers for purpose of data analysis. Maintaining confidentiality of participants' data in qualitative studies often requires more effort than in quantitative research. The very nature of data collection in qualitative investigation makes anonymity impossible. So, informed consent documents should contain details about how the data will be identified, who will have access to the data, and how the findings will be reported. Researchers should take precautions during data collection and analysis to maintain confidentiality in qualitative studies. The interviews conducted with participants frequently are recorded and later transcribed, so participants' names should not be mentioned during the recording. Some researchers ask participants to identify pseudonyms by which they will be identified during the interview and on transcripts. Depending on the methods of the study, the researcher may return description of interviews or observations to participants to allow them to correct inaccurate information or remove any information that they do not want included. Researchers must respect participants' privacy as they decide how much detail and editing or private information are necessary to publish a study, while maintaining the richness and depth of the participants' perspectives. Participants have the right to know whether anyone other than you will be transcribing interview information. The researcher must ensure that quotations provided to support the trustworthiness of the findings do not contain identifying information. In quantitative research, the confidentiality of subjects' information must be ensured during the data analysis process. The data collected should undergo group analysis so that an individual cannot be identified by he or her response. If subjects are divided into groups and a group has less than 5 members, the results for that group should not be reported. In writing the research report, you should describe the findings in such a way that an individual or a group of individuals cannot be identified from their responses. That's all for this section. Thanks for your time.